Lai Oyikoli Abu Hanifa, the CEO of the Criterion Medical Home. We welcome you guys to our new episode on Health Watch on News Tank NGTV. For those of you just joining us on our programs, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel, to like our videos and share for the benefit of humanity. Last week we discussed on infections and pathogens generally, and how can we, control and correct them. So today we are going to discuss on a very, very common ailment, a very, very common disorder, a very, very highly infectious, highly contagious ailment, which I believe each and every one of us would have, at one point in time heard of this particular condition. So today we are discussing on hepatitis. Yes, hepatitis. And the reason why we choose this topic to discuss today is due to the overprevalence of the hepatitis condition, disease. People meet people today, hepatitis, tomorrow hepatitis, every day. So we need to orientate people on what they need to know about the hepatitis infection and how to control and how to cure it. So hepatitis simply means liver inflammation because hepato means liver and itis is the Latin word for inflammation. So hepatitis is liver inflammation. So now, what's the liver first? What's the liver? So in the body, in the visceral organ, the liver is the most largest organ in the visceral organ. After the skin, the liver is the second most largest organ. So it has a whole lot of functions to do. It processes some hormones. It helps us to pass out some toxins and waste, and it's also it stores fats. It also stores glucose if there is already excess glucose in the body. So it has a whole lot of functions to do. So now this organ, this liver, which we are discussing about, if it's being inflamed, and we're still going to discuss on what are those things that can get it inflamed. So if it's being inflamed, then there will be some kind of malfunctioning. There will be some kind of not functioning properly due to the fact that it has been affected and it has been infected. So now, what are those things that can affect the liver and make it to not function properly? First, I want you to understand the fact that the liver is one of the most rugged organ in the body. It's very, very rugged. That people might be having liver issues, might be having liver failures, but still they might not show symptoms due to the fact that liver has the tendency to rejuvenate itself. It treats itself. It tries to, even though it's tired, but it's trying to keep on working and working and working. So most people don't know that they have hepatitis or they have hepatomegaly or any other liver related conditions. So it's until maybe they want to go for some certain tests and analysis, and that's when most people know that they are having liver infections. So liver inflammation, which is hepatitis, can be caused by different causes. We have virus-induced hepatitis, which can be caused by the hepatitis A virus, hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, hepatitis D virus, hepatitis E virus. Even there's hepatitis G virus. Even there's also hepatitis F. So these are different, not stage. Some people used to think that hepatitis A is stage 1, hepatitis B is stage 2, hepatitis C is no. There is a virus on its own called the hepatitis A. I get it. There's an antigen called hepatitis A virus. So this one causes the hepatitis A condition. So it's not stages. It has its own stages. It has its own virulence, but it's no matter of A is stage 1, then B is stage 2. No, there is a certain pathogen that causes hepatitis A, and it is different entirely from the one that causes hepatitis B. They have different causes, different incubation period, and different risk factors. So these hepatitis A to hepatitis G, these are the viral induced hepatitis, and we also have toxic hepatitis, or let's say drug induced hepatitis. So these are those ones that are caused by overconsumption of some certain hard drugs, or let me say even any drug generally, like ibuprofen as a case study. So overconsumption of ibuprofen, constantly taking ibuprofen and other non-steroids anti-inflammatory drugs can affect the liver and make it become inflamed. No, it simply means that the liver is inflamed, it's enlarged, it's inflamed, and it's having some kind of discomfort and the likes. So it's not only the virus that can cause the liver to be inflamed. So taking those, like as a case study of the ibuprofen, which I mentioned, so over consumption of it and some other hard drugs also like pentazocine, like morphine and the likes. So over consumption of these things can affect the liver and make it to be inflamed. There's also what we call alcohol-induced hepatitis. Alcohol-induced hepatitis. This means that it is consumption of alcohol and also smoking of tobacco, that's nicotine and tobacco, and other smokes, generally like marijuana, like cocaine, like and the likes. So these can also affect the liver and make it to be inflamed. So someone that smokes, that drinks, alcohol, regular, even if it is just because if it's a regular basis, some people, our body system is very different. So consumption of alcohol generally and basically affects the liver and can make it to become inflamed. So also there's what we call autoimmune hepatitis. Autoimmune hepatitis, and this is, though it's quite rare, but it happens. What is autoimmune hepatitis? In our discussion, when we are discussing on diabetes, we mentioned the fact that if a condition is said to be autoimmune, it means that the immune system, which is the body defense mechanism, due to some conditions, due to some risk factors, the immune system faces the body organ and destroys it. I remember that I make mention of, and I brought an illustration that having a territory, like having a state like Lagos State, and the governments to employ soldiers, military and paramilitary men to be on the border of the state to ensure that no no invasion happens in the state. I guess me, like the states, the country putting a whole lot of soldiers at the border, that if anyone wants to come and attack the security or want to come and attack the security of the state, face them and fight them. Then suddenly, those soldiers that are meant to protect, to guide, to secure the state, then they should now face the state itself and start, shooting the citizens of the state. So this is what we call autoimmune deficiencies. So the immune system that is meant to support, that is meant to secure, that is meant to protect the body. So in some conditions, the immune system itself faces the body organ and starts destroying it. So this, if it happens that the organ that is being destroyed or is being affected is the liver, then it will be said to be autoimmune hepatitis. That is, the hepatitis, the liver inflammation, is being caused by the immune system attacking the liver and causing some havoc on the liver. So with the few types with which we've just illustrated, we made it known that alcohol can cause hepatitis. That is hepatitis-induced alcohol, and also overusage of some medications, any medication generally, even paracetamol. Yes, even as little as paracetamol, which is a mild pain relief, even as mild as simple as paracetamol, it can also affect the liver. Even overconsumption of some herbs, yes, of some herbs, because there are some herbs that are very high in toxics, and so if they are too much in the body, so this can also affect the liver and cause some kind of inflammation to the liver, and that's what we call hepatitis. So how does one get this and how can one prevent it? So for the hepatitis A and hepatitis E, hepatitis A and hepatitis E is mostly common in rural areas, in places where it's not a very, where there is dirt, where there is no good hygiene. So it can be found in food, in feces, and the like. So in dirty areas, you might feel like, I'm having hepatitis A, but I'm not dirty. You might not be dirty, but perhaps there's something which you ate that have been touched by someone that is infected with the hepatitis A or hepatitis E virus. So it's mostly found in rural areas. In short, it's mostly found in rural areas. So if to prevent that, one just have to very very hygiene to live a kind of very very you take care of yourself, you take care of what you eat, what you take to the mouth. You make sure that you practice a good level of hygiene. Also, it can also be passed by blood transfusion. Blood transfusion. This is one of the general ways which hepatitis generally, gets transmitted. So blood transfusion, if the hepatitis antigen is found in the blood, So, and the blood is being transfused to someone else. So there is high chances, or let me even say we have all the chances that the person receiving the blood will also be receiving the hepatitis virus, because the hepatitis virus is already in the blood. So also hepatitis B on its own is mostly through blood transfusion also, and through sexual intercourse. It is mostly spread by sexual intercourse, and also it can be spread through mother and child. A woman is having it and she's breastfeeding her child, or even doing childbirth. The child of such woman is at risk of having the hepatitis. And there are so many ways which one gets the hepatitis B, and hepatitis C also is very common with the mode of transmission of hepatitis B through sexual intercourse, through usage of sharing of sharp objects, so like needles, syringe, blades. So especially for those guys that they don't even care, they just feel like, give me the needle that you just used to inject yourself with some kind of hard drugs. They also get the same needle that someone have used, and they inject themselves also. So if one person is having the hepatitis, there's high chances that all of them sharing that needle will also share the hepatitis. So hepatitis D on its own is called delta hepatitis. Hepatitis B is also called serum hepatitis. So for the hepatitis D on its own, hepatitis D, one does not get affected with hepatitis D except the person is already having hepatitis B. So hepatitis D cannot thrive if there is no hepatitis B. Delta hepatitis, that is hepatitis D, cannot thrive, cannot survive. One can't get affected or infected with it unless one is already having hepatitis B. So that means if one is having hepatitis D, so it is much more deadly, because it is two viruses that the person is having at the same time. I hope you're getting me. Hepatitis D cannot survive except there is hepatitis B. So if one is having hepatitis D, it means that the person is also having hepatitis D. So that is, two combos affecting the liver at the same time, and that makes it to be much more deadly. So what are the symptoms that one will see when, the common symptoms? Let me make this clear. Some people will be having hepatitis for years and they won't even show any symptoms. I have a patient in Las Vegas, in USA. This patient of mine, he told me that before he travels to the States, he's from Nigeria, he's from Ibadan to be precise. He said, during the time of working towards all his credentials, his papers, so his health profile will be requested for. So this was when he went to the lab to test himself and check his blood and everything. Then he was tested positive for hepatitis B, and he was like, when did I get affected? When did I get infected with hepatitis B? So then he told me that he traced how he got the virus, and he realized that he got it from birth. He got it from birth, as in he was born. It is a congenital disease, as in he got it from his mother. So imagine, he said he was 33 years old when he was trying to travel, meaning he had hepatitis for 33 years, and he did not even know. He did not even know he was having it until when he wanted to travel, and he just have to, do those tests. And he said the mother had the hepatitis, as in he went back home and was like, how did I get hepatitis? And the mother was like, yes, she was having it. And, she gave birth to him with the hepatitis. So for 33 years, imagine that if he did not go for such test. The man was telling me that then, that was around 2 years ago, that he's already 48 now. That's 15 years later. 15 years later, and he's still having hepatitis. So if not that he did the test, he won't be knowing that he's having the hepatitis. So that's one unique thing about hepatitis. To some people, due to their level of hygiene and how they are able to take care of themselves, it might not show any symptoms. It might just be dormant in the blood. Yes, it will be in the blood, but it won't affect the person. The person will live a normal life. The person will live as if there's nothing wrong. So this is what makes most people not, like, some people, maybe they want to, like pregnant women mostly. I got a call yesterday from a woman. So she said it was when she's pregnant, so she'll be told to do those tests. So that was when she knew that she was having hepatitis, that she's not showing any symptoms, she's not having jaundice, she's not having fever, she's not having pains, aches, she's not having nausea, she's not vomiting, she's not having temperature. So she's not having those signs. I guess she's not having abdominal cramps, she's not having, so she was like, she's not exhibiting any symptoms and she was told that she had it. I said, yes, it happens like that. Most people don't show symptoms. They are asymptomatic when it comes to hepatitis. But the issue is that if one is not able, if you know that you're having hepatitis, are you getting it? The next thing is that you will be working towards how to take care of yourself. But if you don't know you're having it, are you getting it? And you are just taking things, that will now, worsen your condition, overburden your liver. So this will make, it will make the liver to quickly drop down and break down, and you start exhibiting symptoms, and it can lead to cirrhosis, leading to, chronic liver failure, liver cancer, and lead to death. So knowing one's hepatitis status is very, very important. It's very, very important. Within this year alone, I've done tests like 3 times to know my hepatitis status. It's very, very important, because if you've known your status, you've known that, okay, I'm not having it, all praise belongs to God Almighty, I'm having it, then what's next am I to do? But if you're not knowing it, so you might be doing the wrong thing that will be harming the liver more. Are you getting it? So it's better to know one's status. Go to the nearest lab and do general blood test, hepatitis antigen test, to know if you're having the hepatitis in your blood. So the symptoms I've briefly mentioned some. So having jaundice, which is one of the major, the liver. One of the functions of the liver is to process out bilirubin, which is a byproduct of the red blood cell, of dead red blood cells. So if the liver is having problem, it won't be able to process the bilirubin well, and this will cause, the eyes and other body organs to become yellowish in nature. So having jaundice is not everyone having jaundice is having hepatitis, but jaundice is one of the symptoms of hepatitis. So not everyone you see with jaundice, this boy is having, no. It doesn't mean, but it is a sign. It's a symptom, just like having fever. So I might be having malaria and having fever, I might be having hepatitis and having fever. So it doesn't mean that everyone having fever is having hepatitis. So, but one of the major signs is fever, having jaundice, having pain, ache, fatigue, just feeling tired, very, very tired. So these are one of those very common symptoms, but it doesn't show early. I get it. You don't know early that you are having it. So what else do we need to know? If one is now tested positive for having the hepatitis, within the first 6 months to the first year, it's called the acute stage. If you are able, like for example, now I just made a statement that I personally, Dr. Abdullah Yukoli Abu Hanifa, I've tested myself like thrice this year. Yes, because I've donated blood like thrice this year. So I'm sure I test myself before donating blood. And I know I'm not having hepatitis. So let's say by September, I'm not praying it, but let's be realistic. It's no matter of, so let's say by September, I conduct another test and it's proven that there is presence of the hepatitis B antigen. So I would have known that it is between this August and September that I get exposed to it. So it is still in the very, very early stage. And it's easy. It's much more easier to, eradicate it off the body if it is early detected. If it is earlier detected, it is easy, much more easier to, free the body from it. You don't even need to take you don't need to take hard medications. Just try to, improve your immune system, eat well, take liver-friendly foods, and your liver will eradicate it, your bloodstream will eradicate it, your immune system will fight it off. So, but imagine a case whereby it's already spending 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. So if it has passed the early years, the early few months, and the early first year, so the goal is not to test negative. Yes, one can still test negative, but it's not in all cases. If it has surpassed the early, the acute stage, and it's already in the chronic stage means it is above a year. I get it. It's the first time, not the time you did test. Most people, they did test and they found out they're having hepatitis today, and they're like, maybe just got it yesterday. No, you find out today that you're having hepatitis. You might have been having it for the past 5 years. When do you do test last? I get it. You might have been having it for the past 5 years. You're not showing symptoms. You might think so. It's not that it is today that you just you did a test that you're not having it. You might have been having it for very long. So, but for someone doing tests, that's why it is highly recommended that you do some vital tests within 6 months, so that you did this one in January, you did the next one in July. So if there is some kind of pathogen, you were able to know that this pathogen just got there within this space of time, because the last time I did the test, I wasn't having it. Are you getting it? You would know that, okay, it means that it is still in the acute stage, and it is much more easier and much more, simpler to eradicate than someone doing tests maybe 3 years. So if you do test 2017, you did the next one 2020, the next one 2013, 2023. So how will you know the exact time you got infected? Is it still in the acute stage? Is it already in the chronic stage? So it is highly recommended that in a year at least you go for full body checkup like twice in a year. It's like twice in a year. It's very very it's for your own health. Don't look at the money. How much is full body checkup? So the it's prevention is better than cure. Getting it immediately, if it's still in the acute stage, any condition, and even HIV, any condition out there. So if you are able to detect it earlier, so it's much more easier to eradicate it than if it's already spending years. Then you just have to manage it and try to make sure that it doesn't escalate to a much more severe condition. So for hepatitis, if it's still in the early stage, as I said, it's much more simpler to treat. So in the later stage, so you just have to manage yourself and prevent the virus from going much more wider. So what are those tests you need to do before coming to the medications? As a naturopath, so we love to recommend those things you need to take, even foods, because when it comes to hepatitis, diets also play a major role to take care and correct and control the spread of hepatitis. So the simple tests that are much more, highly recommended you do to know if you're having hepatitis. You do the normal blood tests, hepatitis B antigen test, hepatitis C antigen test, and other, hepatitis antigen test. You also do liver function test to check the parameters that has to do with the liver and if there's any abnormality in them. Also viral load. If you are tested positive to be having the hepatitis, so it's highly recommended that you check your viral load to know the extent of the hepatitis infection in your bloodstream. So with that, you'll be able to monitor the progress of the medication that you are taking. I getting it. You'll be able to know the extent of the pathogenicity of the virus which you are infected with. So now, how do we take care of hepatitis? If one is tested positive of having hepatitis, so the first aid which you do is that if you are not having a healthy diet before, then you make sure that if you still want to live your life, as in if you have, it's not compulsory, it's only necessary. It's not compulsory, it's necessary. So if you have your life to live, so you just have to modify the way you eat. So you take healthy diet. You make sure that you're on healthy diet. You take healthy foods. So you include turmeric, because turmeric is very very is a liver friendly food, and the liver is in love with turmeric. So you include turmeric in, if you're eating bread, if you can eat turmeric and bread, eat it. I get it. If you're eating ogi, if you can include turmeric and ogi, include it. Even gari, you can put turmeric in gari, no problem. Go on song. So add it to it. So turmeric is very friendly with the liver. Ginger, garlic, onions. So these are liver friendly food. Mint leaf, these are liver friendly food. You include them in your food, and you reduce your intake of saturated fats, and make sure that if you have to take oils, make sure that they are majorly mono unsaturated fats like olive oil, that's pure extra virgin olive oil, like sunflower oil, like canola oils. So these are much more healthy types of oil. Soya oil is also a good choice. So, but taking groundnut oil, most vegetable oil, these are not friendly with your liver, especially when you are having this condition, that's hepatitis. So you eradicate or drastically reduce your intake of meat. Are you getting it? For those consuming alcohol, you distance from it in the totality, not once in a while. You take it away from, if it's not even part of diet. From your lifestyle, you take away alcohol and smokes, and you try to live healthy. You distance yourself from toxics and toxic people also. So most people having hepatitis, what kills them most is fear. Like, hey, hepatitis. So there's in Nigeria alone over 30 to 40 million of people having hepatitis. Over 30 to 40 millions of people having hepatitis. So it's very, very common, very, very common. More than 15 to 20% of the whole Nigeria population are having hepatitis. So you're not the only one in the field. So now for herbs, there are some very effective natural herbal medicine that have been tested and confirmed to take care of hepatitis. So like we have the Philanthus amarus, Philanthus nunuri. So that is which Yoruba call Ewe Enyolobe. The Englishman calls it stonebreaker. Some call it little small leaf, yes. Some in Lagos call it small leaf. So this plant is very, very liver friendly, though it has ways which we use it. You don't take it much because it also has its own level of toxics. So you don't take it like under that full liver, it's good for the liver. Let me just take it as much as I see. No, it has ways of taking it, which we will highlight for you now. So this stonebreaker, Philanthus amarus, and Brefusa, that's ogweed, which Yoruba called Ewe Etikmola. So ogweed, stonebreaker, and also getting this plant along with it, Imiesu. So you get these three plants. Imiesu is called goatweed in English, also called king grass according to some Englishmen. So these three plants, stonebreaker, you can get like, if it's powder, if you're getting it in powdered form, like 2 spoons of stonebreaker powder, 2 spoons of stonebreaker powder, or let's say like one, I don't want to say one handful because my own hand is bigger than some hands and some hands are bigger than my hands. So, but let's say if it's powder, let me just use powder as a case study. So like 2 spoons of stonebreaker powder, and also the ogweed, you can get like 3 spoons of the ogweed, which is etikmola, 3 spoons of etikmola, and the goat's weed, which you will call imiesu. So you can get like 5 spoons of imiesu powder. You turn them to powder. You shade them. You dry them in the shade. Like after getting them, you put them not in the sun directly. You put them under a shade, not too shady place, but where only breeze will be getting there, and we dry them. So you turn them to powder and mix them all together. So you can now mix them with either adi and your dudu, that's palm kernel oil, or you mix them with black seed oil. So either black seed oil or adi and your dudu. So let me repeat it: 3 spoons of stonebreaker powder, that's Ewe Enyolobe, 2 spoons, I'm sorry, please, 2 spoons of Ewe Enyolobe powder, 3 spoons of Ewe Etikmola powder, that's ogweed, and 5 spoons of king grass, which Yoruba called Ewe Imiesu. So you mix all these powder together and you mix them with 1 liter of black seed oil, 1 liter of black seed oil, or 1 liter of kernel oil, which Yoruba called adhere in your dudu. So you mix them all together and you take 3 spoons in the morning, 3 spoons at night. You make sure that they are mixed well. So it won't be they are evenly distributed. So you take 3 spoons in the morning, 3 spoons at night, 3 spoons in the morning, 3 spoons at night. So this assists a lot if the viral load is if it's still in the acute stage. So this little recommendation which I just give right now is able to eradicate it. And if it is in the chronic stage, so this will assist to prevent some chronic symptoms that have already been exhibited, and it will prevent the kidney condition from getting worse. So let's stop here because the operators are already giving us time that time is already going. So we meet next week again by God's grace. If you want to have some interaction with me, you can call me on my hotline 09032372682, 09032372682. We have our Lagos office located at number 16 Richard Abimbola Street, Ilasamaja, Lagos. Number 16 Richard Abimbola Street, Ilasamaja, Lagos. We also have office at Iseyin at Iladosagbo Grammar School, behind Iladosagbo Grammar School, the Criterion and Medical of our own. You can also meet us there. And we also have office at Ibadan. Thanks so much. Meet us next week. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share the videos to your loved ones. Thanks so much, the Criterion Cares.